just want to talk about one of my favourite beans. So, at the moment anyway, this is the Madagascar bean. Now, bear with me, so this is a humble Madagascar bean. So during the video you're going to see quite a few clips, so bear with me. These Madagascar beans are fantastic. Just recently picked these. I still miss some. Tell you what, is anybody out there, if anybody out there has some sort of magic bean finding glasses. I just spent 2 hours picking beans and I thought, I did so well, I must have picked them all. Yeah, no, I didn't. So, I missed like 20. There's a whole patch in here. Oh man. I'll have to come back and get them. So, the humble Madagascar bean. Now, there's just two vines here. There's one here and there's one on the other fence. We've just had a pretty big frost the last 2 nights, or the last 2 mornings, and there's quite a lot of damage to the vines themselves. The beans are fine, the pods are fine, but yeah, the vine itself has got lots of these brown, dying leaves. That looking very happy. The one over on the little fence, it's actually got nailed really, really bad, so it's probably going to die off. These are like an everlast bean. They are incredible. I wasn't convinced when I started growing them, and I've been growing them for about 2 years. So this is a 2-year-old bean, and it's covered, one bean has covered about 20 meters of fence, double-sided, to, you know, I'm 5'9", so over 6 foot of fence. That's along my chook pen, so there's tin at the bottom so chooks can't peck it when it was coming up, and now it's taken over. The other side looks great because the ducks just trim it at the level of the tin, so it's got this lovely flat edge like I keep it trimmed. This side's messy, it takes over, it travels all around the garden bed, and then I rip it all out and feed it to the goats. But I'm getting sidetracked. So this humble bean is divine. So I live in the tropics, far north Queensland, and when I started growing it, just bear with me as I get my table to sit on. So this vine, when I first started growing it, I got the seed from an old girl in Ravenshoe, and she said, oh, not sure what type of bean it is. I'm pretty sure it's edible. And it's got these really pretty seeds. Do you want some? Knowing that I'm a seedaholic. I said, oh yeah, that would be wonderful. So she gave me literally a handful of seeds. And they're these red, spotty and white seeds. I thought, oh geez, they're really nice looking. I thought, oh, I wonder what sort of bean they are. So I took pictures of the flowers on her plant, and I took pictures of the vine. I thought, oh, I'll ask around and see what I can find out about it. So after a bit of research and asking around, I found out it's called a Madagascar bean. Now, nobody really was eating them that I knew. They said, oh yeah, they're edible, they're alright, but, you know, neither here nor there. Anyway, so I didn't think much more about it. And I grew these beans, and I found out that I can use them for animal fodder. So I thought, oh, that's great. I'll grow them along my fence lines. And sorry, taking my glasses off for the glare. Grow them along my fence line, and the chooks can get it on one side, ducks can get it on one side, and when it grows, I'll just pull it off and feed it to my animals, to my goats and such. And I had pigs at the time. So I've grown this beautiful bean vine, and it's gotten covered in beans, covered in flowers, and I've been ripping it off like you would not believe. I will take 2 wheelbarrows from this every couple of weeks and feed it to the goats, and I'm rough with it, you know. I don't care if I kill the vine, I just keep pulling it off and throwing it to the goats. And then about 12 months ago I went, you know, I really should start eating these beans because they're quite prolific. And sometimes with these beans that have got the red tinge and the seeds, they're actually toxic, so like your sword beans and that sort of thing. So I thought, oh, maybe I've got to boil them twice. So then I started asking around again, asked around at Seed Savers, and they're like, oh no, these are fantastic. This is how we use them. You know, we have the dried bean, and from the dried bean, hang on, I'll see if I can find a dried bean. I don't have a dried bean. Oh, I found more I'd missed. Look at the size of the pods in that. You can see it in the sun? Probably not. Oh, that's so annoying. Anyway, they were soaking the dried beans, these lovely red things, and then they were boiling them up and using them like a kidney bean. I did that. They were alright. You know, nothing special. And then I went to another Seed Savers meeting. So it took about 6 months. So I'm eating these boiled beans, you know, making baked beans and that sort of thing with them. They're just a bean. They're not nothing special. I couldn't differentiate between those and a blue lake bean that I dried. And then I went to a Seed Savers meeting. And I was talking to a lady there and she goes, oh, no, I eat them when they're green. I went, like, green, like you eat the pod. The pod's all fibrous. She goes, no, I pop the beans and I eat the beans inside. And I said, oh, fresh? And she goes, no, cook them like a broad bean. I said, oh, okay. My world changed. As a broad bean, they are the nicest broad bean you have ever eaten. They're a little bit tedious to pop this open and get the pods out of. My neighbour, actually, she boils these pods until they're tender, and then she just like squeezes them, goes pop, 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 and out they come. I kind of prefer picking at them when they're like this. And it's therapeutic. You break the head off of it and you flick these beans out. And when they're all green, or they're green with really light pink spots, I put them for eating like broad beans. If they've got dark pink or the red, I put them in a separate container and I'll dry them out and use them as dried beans. But when they're green, last night I made bean patties. Now, I've tried different sorts of bean patties and black bean patties, which I'm not fond of. I thought, oh, we'll see how these goes as meat replacement. So I made patties using exactly the same recipe as I do for my normal rissoles. Right, so I put a little bit of finely grated carrot in there. I put my Worcestershire sauce in there. I put my soy sauce in there. I put 2 eggs in there. I put breadcrumbs. I put a little bit of wheat bix on there. And I did some almond meal, as well as an onion and a garlic. And, or not your normal onion, but my bunching onions from the garden. And a little bit of parsley. Blitzed them up in my food processor. Probably should have blitzed up all the other ingredients and not added the beans till last, because I ended up with this really fine paste. And I've gone, oh, not sure how this is going to go. So I sat in a bowl. But no, I'm going to go and finish doing some gardening and then I'll come back to it. So I put it in the fridge. Didn't come back to it for about 2 hours. And when I come back, it was like it absorbed all the breadcrumbs, and the almond meal had absorbed the moisture in it and the wheat bix. And it was like the texture of ground meat. Fine ground meat, but ground meat, you know, like the mince that I get from my duck breast. So I thought, righto, so I made the patties. I thought, I'm not sure if these things are going to hold together when I fry them. Fried them up, and I was in heaven. Absolutely delicious. I have been wasting my beans for 2 years when I could have been making these bean patties. So good. And we had leftover ones for lunch today. And I literally fry them in a teaspoon of butter with 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And I shallow fry them in a fry pan, same as I do my rissoles. They would be better in the oven, but my oven sort of broke. So I don't have an oven at the moment. So fry pan it was. And they were divine. They were crispy on the outside. They were beautiful in the inside. And they tasted like meat. And I'm a big meat eater. And they were just absolutely delicious. So they got a big hell yes from my kids to say, yep, please do this again, Mum. So picking wise, so I pick about every 2 weeks, and I pick about 6 kilos of beans. So at the moment in town, if I was to buy hand-picked beans, green beans, they're $14 a kilo. So for my 6 kilos of beans, that's about $86. worth of beans in that bag. Now, out of that $86, the actual pods don't weigh that much. So I get about, from that 6 kilos, I get about a kilo of bean pods, or just over a kilo of bean pods. And, you know, that's still $14, right, of these lovely bean pods. I only used about 200 grams of them last night to feed a family of 4. Each had a decent size rissole. And then lunchtime today I made bean patty. Redid the patty mix because I just put it in the fridge as patty mix because I was only going to cook 8. So with what was left, so there would have been, probably would have only been a good handful there. So I'd say less than 200 grams worth of patty mix, probably even less than that, probably 150 grams worth of patty mix. And I did that into really flat patties just to put on a gourmet burger. So, and then we had gourmet burgers. So we had freshly grated carrot, we had fat hen on it, we had some Dijon mustard leaf on it. We made an avocado mayonnaise with the avo, the lime juice, bit of mustard, salt and pepper. Makes a beautiful mayo. And fresh beetroot. And I can't remember what else. Oh, chopped up spring onion on these burgers. And it was so good. You've never tasted a burger more divine than one of these bean patty burgers. So hence, everybody should be growing Madagascar beans. And grow them just like your normal beans. You fertilise the ground, work it a little bit, give them a little bit of lime or dolomite, and plant your bean pods. But don't go planting huge amounts of them, and your trellis has got to be really strong. You need a really strong, because this is quite heavy. Yeah, there is a lot of bean vine here. Like a lot of bean vine here. Another one. And I would say there'd be over 100 kilos of weight on this fence. So you need it well strained. Make sure your corner posts have got a support picket on them to hold them straight. And put star pickets probably about every, don't put them any further apart than about 2 meters. And make sure it's really strong fence. This is just on chicken mesh, the cheap $54 a roll stuff from Bunnings, and guide wires. And yeah, you get this huge plant. Now it's a like an everlast bean, so it dies off and then it comes back. Ours hasn't really died off. It had a few yellow moments last year, and this year if we get some deep frost, well then I expect the vine will actually die back, and then I can pull all the dead vines off the fence and feed that to the goats, and then it reshoots. The lady I got the original seed from, hers dies off, like it totally disappears and dies off the fence. And she does the same thing, she quickly cleans it, or she gets the gardener to do to clean it, and then it comes back. So this thing's fantastic, and for no effort. Like, I don't do anything with this. It gets a little bit of water from the duck pen occasionally, and it just grows on the fence by itself. So here are your pods. So these ones along here are a couple of the different sizes that I bring into my kitchen. So these ones here at the green stage, this one here, you can see ever so slightly starting to pink up. And then these are definitely pink. These are like purple stage. There they go, purpley colour. And then these are dried. Well, pretty close to drying. So this one was a really big pod. So average is about 3 seeds. You will get up to 5. But these ones here, so when I'm shelling them, I'll do these 2 sizes here to 1 bag, these 2 sizes here to 1 bag, and these 3 will go into a drying bag. So these ones I can make into bean patties now. The skin's still quite soft. They're quite easy to break apart. I just cook them with a bit of bicarb soda in the water until they're cooked. Depends on the bean, depends on the temperature, but usually about 5 minutes. These ones here only take about 10 minutes to actually cook through. They're actually really quick to cook through once they come to a simmer. So I'm making a chicken and tomato and bean, cooked in a tomato and bean sauce tonight, with thyme and onion. And that's what will be going in, as these bigger ones will be going into that fresh once everything's cooked. And yeah, so you can see different sizes. These ones are actually quite green on the inside, as you can see. And then these ones will be white on the inside. You can see that one's just going from green to white. And yeah, so these ones will be white on the inside. Now, before you store these, you got to make sure that they're really, really dry. And the way to test to see if they're really, really dry is to actually get a seed out and bite it. And if you can't leave a dent in it, or you only leave a small mark with your teeth, that means they should be close to being ready to put into your jars. If you can leave a mark, or you can bend them, like this is quite, I don't know if you can see that, but it's quite bendable. That's still too green to store. You don't want to make your beans go off. Okay. Madagascar bean, and yeah, why not? Why not grow something that can change your life, and you're growing and you have food to provide to your family? Why not? Okay, love yous, bye.